G'day guys, I'm Ragnar. Today we're going to talk about some Warlock beginner class guides here. So basically this is a good guide to watch if you're going to play World of Warcraft Classic and you want to play Warlock, whether you're new or played Warlock before in the current game. This is still a guide worth watching, as I'll go over the best races to pick, what Warlocks is like when you start out as a Warlock, and what kind of talents you want to choose when you level, and just a few bits and pieces that are a bit different to the current Warlock in the current live game. So firstly, I'll go over the races. So each faction has 2 races where you can play Warlock. So if you want to go human, you get the stealth detection increased racial, increased spirit, which isn't really that useful for Warlocks, bonus to reputation gains, which can be very useful, skill with swords and maces increased, which isn't really something a Warlock would use. But if you want to go human for the increased rep game, I can completely understand for that. Another really good pick for Alliance is the Gnome. So as Gnomes, you get increased intelligence, which is 5%. Very powerful for spellcasters. Basically, intellect's a little bit different to the way it works in current game. It increases your mana pool, like the amount of mana you have, and it also increases your crit chance. So just be aware of that. You can get your Escape Artist ability. It's got a 1-second cast time and a 1-minute cooldown, but still very handy. You're resistant to arcane damage, so mages, boomkins, and arcane wands, for example, would be handy against. And engineering skills increase as well, so if you want to do engineering, Gnome is a really good pick. Let's talk about the Horde character. If you're an Orc, some nice racials on as an Orc. You get the resistant to stun effects, probably being the big one. You got the Enrage, but it's not really something that a Warlock would use. It increases attack power, not spell power, like it does in live. Damage done by pets is increased by 5%, so if you like to use pets, like a Demonology Warlock for example, you might appreciate this racial a bit more. And your skill with axes is increased, which is not really something you use as a Warlock. The other option is the Undead. So Undeads make really good Warlocks as well, because of their immune to fear, charm and sleep, with their Will of the Forsaken. It's a 2-minute cooldown, and this immunity lasts a few seconds, and you can use it while you're being feared or charmed, etc. You can use the Cannibalize ability to consume health from corpses. It's on a 2-minute cooldown, only works on humanoids and undead though. Your water breathing is increased, so super handy for underwater quests and underwater herbalism, and your resistance to shadow damage and shadow magic can be very handy as well, making you very strong against enemy Warlocks because of your fear immunity and your shadow resistance. If I was gonna pick Horde, Orc would be great if you hate being stunned, and Undead would be great if you don't like being feared. Gnome's the best if you want DPS racial, and Human's good if you want easier reputation gains. So either, like, they've all got their pros and cons. If I was Alliance, I'd go Gnome. If I was Horde, I'd probably go Undead. Depending which race you pick, depends on the area you start in. Undead start up in the northwestern part of the Eastern Kingdoms. Gnomes will start in Dun Morogh, which is about the middle of the Eastern Kingdoms. Humans will start down in Elwyn Forest, and if you're an Orc, you will start out in Durotar in Kalimdor on the Western Zone. You'll notice that you have some spells already on your bar. Demon Skin is one that you'll have. You want to keep this on all the time. It lasts for 30 minutes, increases your armor by quite a bit, and restores 3 health per 5 seconds. And you can get high ranks of this as you level up for better armor buffs and better health restoration. You'll have your racial ability on your bar. For example, Undead will have Cannibalize, and you'll have Auto Attack, which you don't really need on your bar. You can simply drag that off and use your main ability, Shadow Bolt. If you want Auto Attack, you can simply right click the target to initiate it. I recommend enabling extra action bars, which you can create more on the top of your main action bar and as well on the side. It may look different in the live version of Classic, as I believe it's supposed to mimic the Legion and BFA interface, but just in case they do have the vanilla interface options, it's in advanced options and your action bars are here. You basically take all of the extra action bars, click OK, and then they all are. I recommend key binding as many as you can to your mouse, keyboard, whatever, and try and have a spell on a keybind. The only ones that would leave clickable are things like summoning demons and spells you don't really use very often, like a buff or summon or creating healthstones. But combat spells, definitely have them keybind if possible. So Shadow Bolt is pretty much your main filler ability as a Warlock. It's got a relatively small cast time and uses up a fair bit of mana. You will get higher ranks as you level up, which will have longer cast times and use more mana, but they'll do a lot more damage, and as you level up your mana will naturally increase as well, so you can use these higher ranks. Keep food and health food in your bag so you can regenerate mana and health quickly. At level 1 it'll generate really quick on its own, but as you get higher levels, especially above level 10, you'll find it's a lot slower and you'll need to keep food on you a lot at all times. For those who are new to the game, the first thing you should do is accept the quest. Quest givers have exclamation marks above their head, and you pretty much accept every quest that you can see that you can do at your level, as they reward a lot of XP which help you level up faster, and they usually reward gear and money as well, allowing you to build an income. Quests in this game aren't so obvious as they are in vanilla. For example, they don't appear on the map. You'll literally have to open your quest log by pressing the L key and read what the quest says. It simply says speak with Shadow Priest Sarvis, right? But you're not quite sure where he is. It's not super obvious. But he says it's in the chapel at the base of the hill. He will tell you more of what you must know. So you gotta look for a chapel near a hill, right? So it could be in there, for example. So you gotta sort of walk around and explore, find your way around. Kind of adds another layer of depth to the game, which is pretty cool. If you're nearby, you'll usually see him on the map here, like a red or a yellow circle, sorry. Once you see that, it makes it a bit easier. There he is there, Shadow Priest Sarvis, and then it makes it a little bit easier to work out where he is. So you just need to be within the area to see where you hand in the quest, but obviously some quests where you got to go and kill something or loot things won't be so obvious. You'll have to get really good at your directional skills. If you haven't played recently, you might notice grey quest givers. So grey exclamation mark just means you can't do that quest yet until you're a higher level. This NPC is level 3, so it's unlikely I'll be able to accept this quest until I'm level 3. So if you can't pick up a grey quest, don't fret, just level up a little bit more and come and check later once you're a higher level and you'll be able to do and complete the quest. Warlocks have 2 trainers. So in case you don't know, every class has a class trainer in Classic. You need to go up to your trainer, which will have your class name next to him, and you can purchase your new spells. For example, I can purchase Emulate here, which burns the enemy for 8 fire damage and then an additional 20 fire damage over 15 seconds. So it's basically my first dot spell. Unfortunately, there is a cost to all your spells. This one's only 10 copper, which isn't much, but I haven't made any money yet. So you'll probably find yourself needing to farm a bit of money before you can learn your new spell. Some spells are more expensive than others, so you may want to have some sort of farming set up, whether it's professions like herbalism or skinning or mining, or simply just killing NPCs and selling the items they drop to vendors and make money like that. It's just be aware that gold is a lot harder to come by in Classic than it is in the current game. Warlock's second trainer is the Demon Trainer. Now, Demon Trainers aren't as easy to find as the Warlock Trainers, as only some cities will have a Demon Trainer. For example, Ironforge will not have a Demon Trainer, but Stormwind will. So sometimes you'll have to travel a bit to find the Demon Trainer. And they sell spells for your demons. So as you get a demon pet, you'll be able to upgrade its spell ranks, as well as teach it new spells as you level higher. Again, they cost money, and they require certain levels before you can purchase them. Once you have purchased them, you simply have your demon summoned, and then click on the grimoire to teach the demon that new spell. The Warlock pets in vanilla are not something you can simply get by leveling up or starting a Warlock. You must do a Warlock specific quest to get the demons. For example, your Imp, you must do this quest, which you can get at level 1, and this will allow you to get your Imp once you complete the quest. Once summoning your Imp will simply have its base Firebolt spell, and you'll need to see the Demon Trainer to teach it more spells as you level up. You'll notice that you'll run out of mana halfway through a fight sometimes, so that's when you simply right click on it and auto attack it with your weapon. Your mana will eventually regenerate enough so you can start casting your spells again, but it's something you may need to do early on before you've got a huge amount of mana. As Warlock is a ranged damage class, you can use the range to your advantage while you're questing, especially at low levels. Stand as far away from the target as possible and cast your spells, and you'll notice that you'll be able to get the enemy's health down quite a bit before it even reaches you, sometimes even killing it. And then by the time it does get to you, you can simply finish it off with ease. Even if your mana is low, you can simply auto attack and then cast another spell to finish it off once your mana regenerates. When seeing the class trainer to learn a new spell, you gotta remember to put it on your action bar. It won't automatically be placed onto it. To do that, you simply open your spellbook by pressing the P key, clicking on the correct tab, and then drag and dropping the spell onto your action bar, which then can be used in combat. Once you have completed your demon quest, you can then summon your demon from your spellbook. Just like learning a new spell, you open up your spellbook, click on Demonology tab, drag and drop the summon imp spell, or whatever pet it is, onto your action bar, and then you can summon the imp. Other pets require soul shards to summon, which I'll explain later. Once you have your imp summoned, you'll notice it has one spell called Firebolt. This is the imp's main ability. This will not auto-cast, however, until you right-click on it and then it flashes in a motion just like that. And your imp can also tank for you. You simply get it to attack the target first. So you click the target, then click attacked, and let the imp do about 2 firebolts before you start attacking it, and that will let the imp have full aggro. Then you can simply start attacking it, and then the target will die before it even tries to attack you. If you give yourself a bit of distance between the imp and you, and the target does change to you, the target will have a bit of travel time to get to you before it gets a chance to attack, giving you more time to finish it off. As soon as you can, you'll want to try and get yourself a wand. Wands are very powerful in Classic because they give you the ability called Shoot. Shoot can be found in the General tab of your spellbook. Shoot attacks with wands, with a 1.8 second cooldown, and this can change depending on your wand's attack speed. Wands are a great way to finish off the target if you run out of mana. To give you an example on how to use the wand, normally I would enter the combat by letting my pet attack the target first. I would then dot up the target, and assuming I was out of mana at this point, I could simply use my shoot ability, and this will automatically shoot the target to death. Once you hit level 10 in the game, there are a few things that you should do first before continuing your quest. First is choosing your first talent point. When you hit level 10, you get a talent point that you can put in either Affliction, Demonology, or Destruction trees. The first place I'd put them in would probably be Improved Corruption in the Affliction tree. This reduces the cast time of Corruption, and eventually once you put 5 points in, you can make it an instant cast if you want. The other thing you should do at level 10 is get your Voidwalker. There is a quest in your capital city that you must do, and completing that will award you the Voidwalker. Just like the Imp, you'll need to turn on Autocast for its Torment ability. You can access the demon's other abilities in its spellbook, but remember you must go to the demon trainer to get it more abilities as you level up. The Voidwalker is one of the best pets for tanking, and in the Demonology talents, you can buff it to make it even stronger, as at higher levels your pet will seem weaker, and these talents will basically allow it to keep as strong as they are at low levels. You'll notice some odd things about the spellbook if you compare it to live version of World of Warcraft. There's different ranks of spells, and each rank does different things. For example, Corruption rank 1 does 40 damage over 12 seconds, whereas rank 2 does 90 damage over 15 seconds. So it does more damage and lasts a little longer. Some spells even have different cast times. For example, Shadowbolt rank 1 is a 1.7 cast and only uses 25 mana. Rank 2 uses 40 mana and it's also a longer cast, and again with rank 3. However, the damage scales up considerably. So you would use rank 3 on this board to start the fight, but you might prefer to use rank 1 to simply finish it, as it is much easier to cast and you won't be slowed down as much if you are attacked, and it uses a lot less mana. You'll notice some healing classes will use the lower rank of spells to conserve their mana, as their higher ranking healing abilities would drain them way too quickly. Warlocks have these things called curses. Now only one curse can be active on one target at a time. So if you're gonna spam a curse around, make sure that you're spamming just one curse. As soon as you cast a different kind of curse, it will cancel the first curse that you put on it. For example, if I cast Curse on Agony to do damage, and then cast Curse of Weakness, the Curse of Agony will instantly be dispelled. Some curses are different. For example, Curse of Recklessness will buff the enemy's attack power, but it will reduce their armor by 140 for 2 whole minutes. The raid or dungeon group you are in may require you to use a certain curse on a certain enemy or boss, so just pay attention to which curse you might need to have on your action bar at the time, but most of the time you'll simply use Curse of Agony. When someone says playing a Warlock, you might have heard them talk about soul shards. In the current game, there are simply things that automatically get generated under your health bar. In this game, they are shards that sit in your bag, and many spells require them before you can use them. For example, to make a Healthstone, I need a soul shard. To summon a Voidwalker, I need a soul shard. How do we get soul shards? Well, eventually you'll get an ability called Drain Soul. Basically, what this does is it's a channeled cast that does damage over time, and it lasts 15 seconds. And if the target dies while yielding experience or honor, you'll get a soul shard. I believe in the live version of Classic, you may need to have the killing blow with the Drain Soul ability, but it seems to be working fine in this server, just by having it casted on the target. To give you an example, I'm going to attack this boar, and I'm going to use Drain Soul on it right before it dies, and if I time it correctly, I should get a soul shard. So I simply do my normal rotation, and then right before it dies, I cast Drain Soul. And there we go, in my bag, I got a soul shard. Once I have that soul shard, I can now use my soul shard abilities like Create Healthstone and Summon Demons. Once I've used the soul shard up, however, I will need to farm more to use my other soul shard spells. You can get soul shard bags, so you can store heaps of soul shards, whereas at low level, you may find that they do require a fair bit of space, but you only need 1 or 2 soul shards in your bag because most of your spells will not require them early on. To give you some idea of the talents that I use when I'm leveling, I've just shown you what I've picked. Obviously, different guides will tell you some different things to pick, and of course you can pick whichever suits you best. Some of you, for example, may prefer a better Healthstone regeneration, you might prefer more mana regeneration, or you might prefer your spells to be resisted less. But this is basically what I've chosen, and I'll go over why. So, my improved corruption, normally I put about 3 points into this before I put points in anything else. I then go and put points into Demonic Embrace, and then into my improved Voidwalker. Once I've got that improved Voidwalker, I then complete my improved corruption, which will then allow me to move to the next tier on this level as well. I improved my life tap, as this improves how much money you can generate by sacrificing your health. I've also improved Drain Life by 10%, simply because you may find yourself using Drain Life quite a bit while you're questing, especially if your pet dies and you need a little bit of extra health to survive. Improved Drain Soul is very handy to get mana regeneration, saves you sitting down and eating all the time when you get this mana proc, so very, very handy to have, especially if you find yourself using soul shards a lot. Suppression is something that most people would put either no points in or several points in, depending on your playstyle. I put 1 point in there just to give that extra chance of resistance. I don't feel like I needed all 5 in while I'm leveling, however at max level this will change depending on what spec you go. I put in Approved Curse of Agony, which increases damage done by Curse and Agony by 6%, and I've also gone Amplify Curse, which is a cooldown you can use to amplify Curse of Agony, Curse of Weakness, or Curse of Exhaustion. In this case we'll use it for Curse of Agony, which buffs the damage of this basically. Grim Reach basically allows our affliction spells to have an extra 20% of range, so it's pretty much 40 yards of range instead of 30 yards, meaning you can stand further back and from where the enemy is, giving you more time to damage the pet before they can reach you. Nightfall is a super nice talent, and a lot of you may even use it at max level depending on what you're doing, but basically your Corruption and Drain Life spells have a 4% chance to cause you to enter into a Shadow Trance. after damaging the target. The Shadow Trance state reduces the cast time of your next Shadow Bolt by 100%. So this is one of those spells that allows you to instant cast Shadow Bolt, and in most situations you'll use your highest ranking Shadow Bolt because it will have the longest cast time and do the most damage. So having that as an instant cast is always a nice bonus. Siphon Life, great questing talent, as it's basically another thing that gives you some health back, and it's also another damage over time ability you can put on the enemy. Back in the Demonology tree, we put some more spells into Fell Intellect to buff the mana from our pets, making them a bit more viable when they're using their attacks, so won't go out of mana as quickly. And then further down, we give them all more stamina. This is mainly for the Voidwalker, as he's your tank. The more health he has, the longer he can survive. In the Destruction tree, we've basically reduced the mana cost of our destruction spells by 5%, so we run out of mana a bit less by using destruction spells like Immolate. And we've also reduced the cast time of our Shadow Bolt and Immolate spells by 0.5 seconds, and your Soulfire spell by 2 seconds. The big one here is Shadowburn. Shadowburn is super fun while leveling. It does a ton of damage and you can use it pretty much off cooldown. It does require a Soul Shard, however if you get the killing blow within 5 seconds of using this spell, it refunds the Soul Shard. It's great finisher ability. You could think of it almost like an execute the warriors have, but it makes leveling really, really fun having this ability at your disposal. Anyway, that's my talents now, guys, so you can either follow the talents I've chosen, but even I like to change it up a little bit. Like sometimes I feel like the Hellstone might be more useful. I may not need so much mana as I thought I would if I've got enough food, and you can simply swap out talents for other things that you might desire. You might prefer to specialize into one specific tree and get more of the higher level talents, but while leveling they're not required so much. If you want more information about the Warlock, you can go to Wowhead. They have classic WoW Warlock leveling guides and best leveling talents. Obviously, the talents you choose can be personal preference as well, depending on your playstyle. They suggest you use these talents up to level 21. They recommend that at level 22, you go to the trainer and respec into more demonology traits to make your pets more powerful, and then respec again at level 60. Alrighty guys, that's pretty much sums it up for the basic new beginner Warlock guide. If there's any more questions that you have and anything else you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks for watching guys. If you'd like to see more guides like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.